Hey guys, John from Ebb Tide. I'm going to have a chat today about casting fluorocarbon for swim baiting for Murray cod. We've been using it for about 2 years now, 2 winters, and had amazing results on it, but we're starting to see some problems that you need to be aware of if you're using it. First of all, why would you use fluorocarbon? We were getting swim baiting in lakes, getting I reckon a hookup ratio to bite ratio of almost as bad as 50%, which if you've done enough Murray cod fishing, you know that that's a lot of casting and missing bites that you really don't want to do. Why were we getting missed bites? Fishing braid with a mono or a fluorocarbon, like 4 or 5 6 foot leader. I don't know, is it cod grabbing here on a soft swim bait, or is it that they're trying to inhale it, and because braid doesn't stretch, they're trying to inhale it and they're getting a short strike situation? Don't know, but you'd get that whack, you'd get that unquestionable crunch, but no hookup. And we got a bit sick of it, so we started to experiment around, ask a lot of questions of a few people that we knew were using fluoro, and the bass guys overseas, and the reasons that they were using it was really resounding with us that we should give it a go. So we sourced the YGK Ultilis fluorocarbon, casting fluorocarbon, and the bite ratio for our crew, the boys that fish with us, the bite ratio has gone up to, I reckon it's in the 90s. I can honestly say I've had one bite in the last year that I actually missed the hook up. The rest of the time it's actually been a positive hook set and got the fish. So I think that speaks for itself in terms of a good number of fish, and that my experience has been pretty consistent with the guys as well. Why? I can only think of one reason personally, is that there's just enough give in casting fluorocarbon. You've still got that direct feel to the bait, you've still got good sensitivity, but when that fish implodes, it's got enough give that this bait ends up right in the back of its mouth because it's got give in the line, and it turns, or you feel that tick in the line, you hit it and you get that hook set, usually right in the corner of the jaw. Occasionally it's deep in the back of the throat, but whatever the reasons are, we're converting a hell of a lot more bites. So that's the good news. That's why you'd use it. On the downside, a few things that you do need to be aware of as a user of fluoro. First and foremost, if you spool up with fluoro, you really need to get your cast control sorted on your reel. Learn how to thumb your reel really properly, because if you get overrun with fluorocarbon, it can be to the point of you actually need to rip it off and start again. Fluorocarbon, casting fluorocarbon, or leader fluorocarbon especially, has memory, and it will spring off and you'll get horrible bird's nest. Now with braid, you can often clear a bird's nest by pulling it out carefully and picking and maybe pulling it through some tough spots. If you do that with fluoro, you've probably screwed the entire spool. You really need to get it out gently, because if you start pulling it through, you'll get kinks in there, and that is the beginning of the end of the line. So first and foremost, get your cast control sorted, get your casting technique sorted, but if you do get an overrun, be very, very careful in how you pick it out. I have had the odd day where I've had one where I've gone, you know what, I'm going to put that reel away, down it goes, I'm not fishing it today, I'll sort that out when I get home. Now if you're fishing a lot, and if you catch, say, a few fish, or you're rubbing into a lot of rock and timber, I actually reckon you're looking at replacing this line every season, or potentially, if you're a really heavy user, maybe even a couple of times a season. The line has spring, it has a degree of stretch, which over time reduces, and when you feel that line has lost its springiness, it is time to replace it. It actually starts to get perhaps a little bit brittle, and it's time to replace and get a fresh spool on there. You'll feel it. You'll feel that the line has lost its life and its springiness. Another factor that I've noticed is, I don't think, unless you're very, very careful, loop knots work particularly well with it in terms of knot strength. And I have cast a couple of lures off where it's just like loaded and gone, lure sails away into the sunset. and it's always been right at the loop knot. I've reverted to, and give this a thought, a very short bite leader. So there's the surgeon's knot there to my fluorocarbon mainline, very short bite leader, and that surgeon's knot has got a really good knot strength, and it's outside the guides. I'm not winding that through the rod tip, so it's a very short leader. And then this is a 50-pound fluorocarbon, and tying a loop knot in there to the lure in 50-pound, that's strong. I've got no fears of that. If it's going to fail anywhere, it's there, but I do rate the surgeon's knot a lot stronger than the loop. A lot of guys who have been used to braid for a long period of time look at 28 and go, way too light. Seriously, you can land big fish on this. The stretch obviously gives you a degree of margin for error as well, but 28 pound is as heavy as it goes. Don't get fooled that you can use using leader fluorocarbon for casting. It's a completely different line. It's really springy, it's hard, and by all means give it a try. You won't finish a day's fishing if you try and put leader on your reel. So this is specific casting fluorocarbon. We've actually just expanded the range of this all the way down to, it's either 4 pound or 2 pound. So all the brim guys, all the yellow guys, if you want to have a crack at straight through fluoro, check out the YGK Ultilis. Cheers guys.